Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Dr. Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is, my friend.
It's going to be a great show today.
It's going to be a great show. It's going to be very interesting for the community.
Yeah.
We're going to hear some things that will be truthful and controversial. And, I'm not scared of neither one, so we'll be able to deal with that. And so, but I can't wait to get into it.
And we will.
Yeah.
Let's thank our sponsors.
Yes, Lee Cossack and Crawley and Fervent Care Christian Academy, Marion County Public Health Department, and Owls Modern Clothing.
And shoes.
And shoes, yeah.
And we want to encourage you to support our sponsors in any way that you can, in many different ways. Also, go to WHMB TV 40. You can see us there on YouTube. Any shows that you might have missed, you can avail yourselves to all of the information there, and you can watch this one when it's over. Also, like us.
On Facebook.
On Facebook.
We're there. We've been there for a long time, and we hope that you'll continue to watch us on Facebook and see the shots and what we're doing on set and behind the scenes as well.
We also want to encourage you to watch us on Friday nights at 9 p.m. and Sundays at 5:30 p.m. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your evening.
Yes, and we enjoy your viewership, and we hope that you'll tell others when we're on to connect to us. The Lord is blessing, and we want to be able to give pertinent and effective, truthful and real information to our community.
And when we come back, we'll be joined by President Rick Snyder of the FOP in Indianapolis, Lodge 86, I believe. He's doing some things and saying some things and twittering some things that I think you might be interested in. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Today's show, joined by Rick Snyder, president of the FOP Lodge 86. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
So, a lot going on in Indianapolis. People who are watching certainly are probably aware of our surging violence here in the city of Indianapolis. And you've got some ideas. One of the things you've been hashtagging is "Where's the outrage?"
Yeah.
So kind of tell people what you do and talk about your concern.
Sure. Well, our Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police represents over 3,000 active and retired police officers and their families in the Indianapolis metro area. The bulk of our membership is the IMPD, but we also represent officers throughout many other agencies in Marion County, including Cumberland, Beech Grove, Speedway, many others. So we have a day-to-day role in the really the effective operations of our law enforcement agencies. In that, we also see what is occurring day to day in our streets and in our neighborhoods. And we've been very concerned about the record levels of violence that we have been having. It's no secret, it's been publicly reported. We have now had 4 back-to-back years of record murder rates. And just for the end of 2019, we learned that there was a small decrease in the number of criminal homicides, which is great. We applaud. Reduction of 1 is a success. However, that reduction of about 6 to 7 criminal homicides doesn't tell the complete picture. And so one of the things that our officers have been very consistent in saying is, listen, without a doubt, the violence is on the rise. And so we really started tracking some of these numbers, not just related to homicides, but to non-fatal shootings, to stabbings, and other aggravated assaults. And in doing that, we saw what they were telling us, which is not only are we at these record levels, but just in the last 3 months, those numbers and the frequency of those aggravated assaults have rapidly surged, much higher than the normal pace in the record years.
You said your officers have told you.
Yeah.
What has the community told you?
Well, unfortunately, it's
be careful now, because there's more than one leader in this community.
Oh yeah, I'm very clear on that. So, we serve nearly 1 million people in this city that are not only residents in the county, but also travel in and out as visitors, students, and many other components. And in that, what we are consistently not only hearing from the community, but unfortunately seeing in the community is these elevated rates of victimization, specifically related to violent crimes. And so the concern is this, is that we are seeing not only this rapid acceleration in the events that are occurring, but also, quite frankly, disproportionate impacts that are occurring too, which is very concerning to us. And you know, we just got the data from 2019, and what we saw was that, again, another year in a row, 3 out of every 4 murder victims were African American. And specifically African American males, young black males specifically, are outpacing all other males combined, especially in that 18 to 24 year age bracket. That's a significant outcome. Another significant outcome that we saw last year is a 78% increase in juvenile murders, which is extremely concerning to us because we are also seeing a very broken juvenile justice approach. I think the intents and the goals are righteous in some of the changes that we have made, but what we are consistently hearing from our families, from our parents, from juveniles themselves, is that the system is broken. And that's one of the reasons why we're proposing some changes. And not just changes, and I want to be clear in this. What we've been consistent in saying is we have put 7 solutions on the table, but by no means are we saying that's the end-all, be-all. What we're trying to encourage is...
Well, the community has already said that. It's not the end-all or cure-all.
And that's great. And what we're hopeful to have is people come alongside us around the table and put their thoughts, their beliefs on the table so that we can get a good, full picture of what is going on.
Have you extended the invitation to others to come around the table, other than whom you're working with now?
Oh, yeah, and we have publicly pled for that, which goes back to the where's the outrage outcry, right? Remember, where that really came into play was following a mass shooting in downtown Indianapolis that involved 6 people being shot, 3 of which were juveniles. And Doctor, we literally heard 0 expressions from leaders in our community about that. And I'm specifically talking about our elected, but also our appointed civic and business leaders. And this was in the economic core of our city. And it was striking that that did not occur. The other thing that we have attempted to make clear is that we are at a point, and I think we're there, I think where people are finally starting to see this, is that it doesn't matter where the violent act occurs. If it occurs anywhere in our city, we should all be concerned about that.
Why do the community have to listen to you based on how the Aaron Bailey situation was handled? Why do the community have to listen to you?
Oh, they don't have, yeah, they absolutely don't have to listen to me at all. That's why we have said, let's have a commission on criminal justice outcomes. Because the one thing...
I think Jackson can tell you where that idea came from, the commission.
Yeah, well, and I've shared this with Rick, in fact, and several others. The commission to study and to look at and come up with solutions just a few years ago. And I thought it was interesting that the BMA, Dr. Moore, the concerned clergy, and now the FOP echoing the same thing, that we need a commission. And I think the only people that are not really grabbing hold of this is the folk who are administrating things downtown. They're not doing it fast enough. We are going to get a commission on climate change, and we do need that. But we don't need it as urgently, I think, as a commission which the BMA, the concerned clergy, and now the FOP is pleading with those who have the power of the pen to say, let's put that commission together. There are 7 specific things, and before we run out of time, Rick, one of the controversial parts of that was the low bond structure. And it had gotten out to the community that you and another minister had indicated that you wanted to lower bonds on people who are incarcerated, although the information was to review bond structures. If you could say more about that.
Yeah, the concern has not been about raising bonds, nor have we advocated for that. In fact, we've clearly outlined we're not advocating or for or against the cash bail bond system. We've set that aside. What we have said is, because of the urgency of the matter here, we are asking for a specific focus to be placed on those who are repeat violent offenders. So repeat violent offenders offenders who have been who have re-victimized somebody, an allegation of that. All we have said is, could we not have a judge, a person, a human being, actually review their criminal conviction history in conjunction with the most recent allegation? Because what is happening right now is that for many acts of violence, felony violent acts, those that are being arrested are going through a computer system that's automatically kicking out a low bond that isn't commensurate with their actual past prior bad acts. And what we know, I think most people just know inherently, right, is that you can potentially have a higher opportunity or frequency for a future bad act based on those prior incidents.
Who does that bond issue affect in the community?
Well, what I would say is it affects victims
It affects
and potential future
Afro-American
victims.
people, the poor in the city. That's who it affects.
Yeah, but
be real about it.
Oh yeah,
Be real about it.
I'm being real about it. And what I'm saying,
it affects the Afro-American community at the poverty level.
And so do repeat violent offenders.
It still affects.
And so do repeat violent offenders.
Because when you put that out there like that, you disrupted the whole community.
Yeah, well, that's where I think the value of things such as this, where we're able to sit around a table and
Rick,
talk,
you need to
really
understand,
pay off.
You need to understand, when you come up with things like this, though it might be good or whatever you have, you just can't run out there without having a table discussion about it. This is why it's so confusing. But our community is very committed. The one I'm from is very familiar with the fact, I don't know if he's familiar with it or others, that it's going to affect the Afro-American community at the poverty level.
But the bond issue, we're not talking about
really,
changing.
The bond issue is not your lane.
But we're not talking about
FOP
raising the
is your
bonds.
lane.
The bond issue
It's
is
your lane.
we're
That's
not
your lane.
talking about raising the bonds, sir. What we're saying is.
But you still missed what I said. What I said was the bond issue is not your lane. Your lane is to help officers who have disciplinary issues. That's your lane.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that.
Well, okay.
So I think we're headed in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Conversation is
Yes.
always good, and different responsibilities that everybody has in the community. And I'm hoping,
Which he's failed to do.
well, I'm hoping out of our continued conversations that we can ultimately get to where we want to be.
And I will not support anything you do until you learn how to be holistic with the community.
And that will come from being around a table. So
You didn't set the table up before you did this.
I would hope that we could have this public commission where we have public discussions on these outcomes, because the outcomes we cannot deny. And when we go back to over 600 murders in the last 4 years, over 2,000 people being shot in our city in the last 4 years, I think we all should be outraged about that and come around the table and figure out how we can impact that and bring those numbers down.
So hopefully we're out of time.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully we can get that table together. I think we've got a small table here.
Yeah.
We can expand it, and we'll be back with more after this.
Yes, we will.
Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And this is a special follow-up to the segment that we just wrapped up.
With President Rick Snyder.
Yes. Passionate conversation.
Very passionate. It's very passionate with me. I mean, I just don't believe that you ought to create something that is not authentic. To talk about the bail situation, however you look at it, the main thing it's going to do is affect the poverty level. The Afro-American, the Latino, that area. It's going to affect the poverty area, and which is difficult right now. I cannot support anything Rick Snyder does. If you support a bad shoot of Aaron Bailey, how are you going to come back and say you want to reduction of Afro-American homicides? That doesn't make sense to me. What makes sense to me is if it was a bad shoot, you should have acknowledged, even as president, it was a bad shoot. If you want to have community engagement, you have to be honest with the community, because eventually the community will see right through that.
Well, I'm hoping that with what he wants to do, as well as others, as I mentioned, the commission that the BMA talked about, the commission that Concerned Clergy talked about, and now the FOP is talking about a commission. I believe there's something to that in bringing more people around the table to talk about these issues. And what there's 7 things he laid out in the media. And one of those things was the bond review issue. And there were several other things. And I think that there are a lot of people who are in the community. And I posted on my Facebook page the fact that millions of dollars are being invested into what we see happening. We've seen a lot of organizations get grants for millions of dollars. We've got a lot of people trying to fix this problem. It's a big problem.
I don't deny it. I mean, I don't deny it, but don't use don't use the back of poor people to try to satisfy or create a remedy for what's going on as it relates to homicides, non-fatal shootings, stabbings, juvenile criminal system, the bond system. Stay in your lane. You have no right to legislate anything, especially when you have no respect for roundtable discussion. You just jump up and go out in the community, and then when people look at you, you want them to respect you. You don't do that, not in the Indianapolis community. And I'm not afraid to mention it because I don't have many friends anyway. I mean, Reverend Harrison does not speak for this community. He is not the one to speak for this community. You speak for the community. I might speak for the community. There's others who speak to the community. He speaks to the platform that put him there. The platform that put me where I am is the community. And I believe that my voice is just as strong as anybody else's. I know about the homicide situations. I know about what's going on. But I will not allow anyone to mistreat any community, black, white, Latino, in any way to try to further their own agenda. These are legislative issues. Legislative issues must be handled in a way to where community can get involved and help push those issues to where they can become legislative issues and become bills and become laws. I feel sorry for Governor Holcomb. I hope he can overcome this in the new election. I would not even allow that type of behavior in my office, to talk about that type of subject matter at that particular time. It is appalling. It is a slap in the face to the community. A lot of people won't agree with that. He hasn't given me anything, so I can talk about the situation the way I feel it's about, because I want it to benefit the community. I want homicides to stop.
Yeah.
I want stabbings to stop. I want juvenile crimes to stop. I want all of that to stop, but it does not stop on the backs of poor people.
And I don't think that's what Governor Holcomb or Reverend Harrison or Rick Snyder are trying to do, from what I understand. After I saw an article on Facebook, I don't have access to the governor, but I did call Reverend Harrison, I did call Rick Snyder, and I asked them pointedly about, did you have a conversation with the governor about raising bonds of poor people or any people? And there's a transcript that is very detailed. That was not the conversation. In President Snyder's 7 solutions, the review of bond structure is there, but there has not been any request, as I understand it, and I investigated that personally, there has not been any request for bonds to be raised on any people who might get in trouble in Indianapolis.
Well, here's my conclusion to that. And I understand where you are and how you stand on that, and I respect that. His lane is defending bad shoots and disciplining officers. That's his lane. And he's had a successful reign at that. And if he wants to engage in the community, he's going to have to engage the community leaders. And then he's going to have to do it in a way to where they can gain respect from him. because I don't know very many clergy persons who will sit at a table with Rick Snyder.
Well, hopefully
that'll
we're out of
change.
time.
Yeah, we are.
But hopefully that will change.
Hopefully that
and
will
that's why we're
change.
here.
Yeah, and he has to do it authentically. And if it's not authentically, people are going to smell that.
All right. So hopefully you have been informed on
Yes.
today. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Real people, real voices, keep it
Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm Curtis Baker.
And I'm your executive producer, Faith McKinney.
And I'm actually your marketing director. And what we wanted to talk about, Faith?
Yes, what do we want
Let's
to talk
about our sponsors, because without our sponsors, this show would not be in existence. And we're talking about Lee Castle and Crawley.
We're talking about Fervent Care Christian Academy
And the Marion County Public Health Department.
and Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes.
Al's Modern Clothing
And
and
you look,
Shoes.
you
He's our
look
new
really
sponsor.
sharp. Yeah, we love
You
Al's
got to
Modern
stop by him.
Clothing.
He's actually in Castleton area, right across the street from McDonald's. Make sure you stop by. But the important thing for us, we want to make sure that we reach out to the community to know that this show is a sponsorable show.
You know, one of the things, the reasons why I love working with Real People, Real Voices is, you know, being able to share our resources, the resources that we do have here in the community with our community. And I want to make sure that, you know, we get great content each and every week. And that's what we're doing here.
And continue writing us. We love the letters.
Wanna
We
hear
love the
from you.
Facebook comments. We love all of that, because without that, we don't know how well we're doing. And we're always looking for guests, right?
Always looking for amazing guests. If you have something that, or know someone that is a game changer here in Indianapolis, you know, just go ahead and say, hey, Curtis, get him on the show, or Faith, get him on the show. We want you. We want to hear from you. We want to know what rich quality talent and rich quality resources that we do have here, and we want to get you on Real People, Real Voices. And if you're a sponsor, if you want to sponsor this amazing show, one-of-a-kind show, call us.
In the little time we got left, I want to make sure that we thank our host, Dr. Moore and Pastor Jackson. Done a fantastic job, and we'll see you next week.